Hey, hey.
We are gathered here today.
We are, and it's fall, y'all, and I got my cozies on, and it's raining.
You're too funny because literally none of that's happening for me in Southern California. So,
well, that tracks.
I would love a cool evening, though. I don't mind a hot, sunny day still, as long as I have air conditioning. But the cool evenings would definitely, that turns me on. Cool evenings are nice.
I feel like it's perfect for our guest today that her episode's going live today because she just gives cozy fall vibes in the best way. So
yeah,
excited for you guys to hear that.
Yeah, Melissa is an amazing guest, and she was so sweet. Whenever we get guests who are also fans of the show, that's like one of our favorite things. So
and also shocking, like what?
Yeah,
Why
I'm
are you
like,
listening to us?
Wait, you've been quoted in the Architectural Digest and like
know,
Domino, and I'm like, I forget that. Oh yeah, designers, we're all like,
they're just like us.
The designers, literally, that's us.
A couple little updates. I actually listened to last week's episode, which I never do because my friends will like mention something from the episode and be like, how do I have such an amnesia? I have no idea what they were talking about. So I listened and it was our mixed bag and I was LOLing at us. Laughing at ourselves.
Oh my
jokes.
God. Except literally getting the text that like, hey, what a coincidence you talked about Jane Goodall and then she died just recently. Like I recorded that. We recorded that well in advance of that happening. So you heard it here first. I'm a psychic.
And you're kind of dressed like her today.
Am I? I have my little bandana on.
It's a kerchief and your little like...
I'm in like a tan, like a
khaki,
safari brown.
Yeah. But I did want to follow up because in that episode I was talking about like pushing myself to get my website live. You've literally heard it here first because I've made 0 announcements about it. Actually, maybe I won't by the time this goes live next week. But yeah, so I did. I was the girl who stayed home on her birthday and launched her website.
Oh my God.
So
happy 50th. Here's a website.
Before, but I mean, I just like a Virgo loves a goal, you know?
Oh, yeah. Nothing like a vacation to make you get everything off your to-do list that's been there for a month.
Yeah.
Like
for months. So I feel very proud of myself. It's a work in progress, but it is alive. So she did do that.
Go check that out, hotties. You've put a lot of energy into getting all the details right. So
I mean, if you want, but I just wanted to like, I put it out there in the world that I was doing it. So I just wanted to follow up and prove myself right for once.
Prove that it happened. Yes. And also a rarity that we should document that you actually listened back to an episode. So
both of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit like a broadcaster mentality is that like, I don't know what like the DJs don't remember what order they played music in while they're playing it. Like they're just doing their thing. And sometimes my brain is like that.
Well, especially when we're out of order and doing stuff in advance.
Yeah, relatable. Other updates that are happening. If you're hearing this in real time
in October 2025, within that month.
Yeah, then you have until November 1st to get onto our current $10 tier on Patreon, because on November 1st, it's going up to $20 for our Loyal Hottie tier.
Yeah, and you'll get that like cool identity of being a legacy Loyal Hottie.
Yeah, everyone who is a member of our tier before the price increase is going to be locked in at their $10 price point, and they get all the same Loyal Hottie benefits they've had forever. And why are we doing this? Well, when those Loyal Hotties joined us in our Patreon, we really didn't have much in the Patreon for them to join. And now there are like 30 plus exclusive episodes that include process parties, 30 plus recorded Hottie Hangouts that we do live every month. And like our Facebook group wasn't even part of the Patreon when we first started the Loyal Hottie tier. So we've added a lot to that. And there's an extensive library of episodes and content and behind the scenes work on our businesses that you get from day one when you join. So there's a whole lot of stuff included in that.
I was talking to one of the Loyal Hotties, and she actually told me we should charge more because it's so valuable. So thank you for that. I won't shout you out, but but we didn't want to raise the rates on folks who have been supporting us. So go ahead, and we're seeing new faces pop in, so that's exciting, which means we'll have new perspectives and voices coming into our Hottie Hangouts and on the Facebook community. So
yeah, there's over 120 as of when we're recording this.
I think there's more now.
It just keeps going. It's exciting, but it's a wonderful place, and we really do like. I look forward to hearing back now as we like join the sessions, and we can ask, and I can say like. We could say like, oh, Ranisha, weren't you working on this? And she's like, oh yeah. And like, those are fun for me because now we get to like catch up on the hot gossip with each other in the hangouts, which is fun. Like, that's my favorite part.
Well, my favorite part is when we go to High Point and then we actually like know these people, even if we've never really met. So
I mean, yes. And speaking of, we're going to be on High Point.
That was my professional DJ segue, by the way.
She's so good. She won't remember she did it, but she did it. Blue. She will not remember that we did it. Yes, that's absolutely true. So there's a couple. One, you could see us. We'll be in High Point. What are we there for? Saturday through Tuesday. You might be there a little longer now, but for sure we're walking around and we'll be there, and we have a tour on that first day that we're there. Tell them about the tour.
Saturday morning at 9, be there at 9:15 sharp at the Point. We're just meeting up and walking over to the vintage area. We're not going to a bunch of other places we've been before. We're not transporting ourselves anywhere. We're just gonna walk and talk, and it's pretty close to just stroll through the vintage booths, which is really fun if you don't normally get there. And we just wanted it to be chill vibes.
And also selfishly, we want to do vintage.
Oh, well, we want to see vintage.
And we like to take our friends with us. So
yeah, but I feel like we haven't been the last couple years or times.
Last time we didn't.
We haven't made ourselves go over there. So, and it's going to be more of the experience of how Shaun and I usually are at market with our other friends, is we're just talking and there's no agenda. So
it's a half day tour. So if you join us, you're free to peel off after or join some other hotties and walk around with them. But we're going to leave from the Point, which is like right in the middle of everything. Details are linked on our Instagram. Head to our bio. You can RSVP for the tour. And then we are also going to be on Sunday in High Point Market on the 26th. We are going to be on a panel, the Meet the Podcasters panel, that Rick Campos, who's a fan of the show and always an undying supporter of both of us, and we're excited to be with him. That's going to be a cool panel. And that starts at, oh God, don't quiz me now.
2:00. Somebody just told me I gave them the wrong information.
Hey, this is what we do. So Sunday the 26th from like 2 to 4, we're going to meet in the Dovetail showroom, and it includes John McClane and Renee Bieri are also there, and then yours truly,
and Rick,
and we're going to have some time. Like, we're not trying to rush our whole agenda. So if you get there and you want to hang out a little bit after the panel, we're going to stick around for a little bit to chat. We'd love to see you, along with some of your other favorite podcasters.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like our official hangout meetup.
Yeah.
We asked to make sure we weren't getting booted out right away. So
join us at Dovetail.
And they're putting together a nice spread and a signature cocktail. Like, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be beautiful. We're going to love High Point and come back really exhausted, but We'd love to see you all there.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay.
On with the show.
Let them listen to Melissa and all of her wisdom.
Let's do. Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
I'm Rebecca Plum, your big sister.
And I'm Shaun Surha, your GBF.
We're not that hot or that young,
but we believe it's a state of mind that helps us build adaptable and profitable businesses.
We rely on the support of our design besties to get through each day.
So let's explore the emotional, practical, and humorous sides of being interior designers.
Welcome to the club. Hey, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
We have a fun friend today. We have Miss Melissa Oholendt here from Oho Interiors. I'm so excited to talk to you, Melissa. Hi.
Hi. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for jumping in. Rebecca shared her conversations back and forth with you a little bit, and I'm like, get her on the show. Get her.
Amazing.
I've been following you for a really long time, but we haven't actually connected, but I feel like I know you. It's like one of those things.
Yeah, same. I mean, I honestly have been listening to you guys for years, so I feel like
really?
I know. Oh, yes, yeah. I'm like the sleeper creeper behind the scenes. Like
that's how I am too.
Yeah, that's me. That's.
I can relate. Shaun is not that.
Oh, I tell people I'm following and listening and doing whatever. Like I'm like, hi, I know all about your new dog.
Yeah.
Like.
We call it the Surha slide.
I do jump into DMs pretty frequently, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And the commenters, the shady comments.
Ooh,
yeah.
I love a shady commenter. Actually, I don't. I hate the shady commenter, but I appreciate the vibe, so.
I like it if it's not me. I like it if it's not, like on TikTok, it sometimes gets crazy. But if it's not directed at me, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I don't, but some of them are bad.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not totally here to talk about social media, but do you want to tell the hotties a little bit about you and your firm and how that all got moving?
Yeah. It's a long, sordid story, so I'll try and keep it pretty concise. But I am Melissa Oholendt from Oho Interiors. We are a high-end, highly custom residential design firm based in both Minnesota and Colorado. And I come from a background of kind of working in finance and kind of PR a little bit. And then I had a photography business for about a decade and then kind of had a really personally tragic situation, like kind of year where it was like all these things kept happening. And I didn't want to be the only person who is contractually obligated to show up. Oh. And so I knew I needed a business that felt like it could kind of scale beyond me and kind of handle like the ebbs and flows of personal needs. And design has been my first love. I originally started going to college for design and then was talked out of it by a well-meaning professor because it was 2001 and the industry was so different back then. Oh, and they could tell like I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so they kind of talked me out of it, and joke's on me, I guess, because I ended up back into it, nearly 20 years later. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. I feel like that was a really nutshell way of describing the last 20 plus years. But yeah.
Yeah, so many of those professors, I don't know if I feel like every person I know has that story where one voice of somebody who we maybe respected sent us down an entire new life trajectory. Yeah. That I found my way back to it too. Someone said, oh, you're not good at math, so you can't do it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, I guess I didn't know that everything was going to be AI 30 years. So that wouldn't matter. But yeah, or there's tools for that.
Right. Well, and I think you're so young and impressionable in so many parts of your life where it's like, oh, someone tells me that this is not the right path. I mean, I was 19, I think, when that happened. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll figure out something else to do. And, so
right.
But I am grateful for it. I am grateful for it because it, working in finance and working in kind of PR elements and then owning my own business before this one really equipped me in a lot of ways to do what I need to do now, for sure.
Sure. Were you doing interiors photography? You kind of started to, right?
Yeah, I started to at the end. I dabbled a little bit into interiors photography. In fact, my first one was with Emily Henderson, who had come to Minnesota to do some like collaboration with some local bloggers. And I remember thinking like, this is the most boring, and she's wonderful, just FYI, but it was the most boring version of photography that I ever could have imagined, just because, and you guys know this, we know this, I know this now, like you set up the frame and you spend an hour tweaking the same exact frame. Yes. And I was like, this is not creatively fulfilling. So I dabbled, but my heart was really in capturing people back then. So.
But it gave you it probably set up part of your eye for what you're looking for in your design.
For sure.
Or what you wish you could do differently.
Yes. Yeah. A little bit of both, depending on where it landed. Yes.
When you switched careers, if you went back to school or did any more education, or if you just like dove in?
No, I stupidly, maybe. I dove right in with all the confidence of, a girl who thinks that she can do it all and then immediately has imposter syndrome. So that was like 2019, November 2019 is kind of when I started my business. And I kind of silly or foolishly, in hindsight, was like, I'll give it a year. We'll see what happens if like I crash and burn, a year's like nothing, and I can figure it out after that. And then COVID hits and
yeah, what a year.
Yeah, that was like the timing of it was both wonderful and the worst possible thing that ever could have happened. So
no
it's just
kidding.
Like pouring lighter fluid on something that was probably already kind of intense.
Yes, absolutely. And so much of an uphill learning sort of trajectory that is still, I feel at times almost 6 years into it, feeling like I didn't know what I didn't know. And people would be like, no, it's a highly technical field. And I'd be like, yeah, I'll be fine. And
of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah, duh. Obviously it is. No, the technical elements here are intense. So you guys know.
Yeah. And it's the risk and the liability that really gets you. It's
yes.
like, okay, well, I left something off a drawing. How bad could it be? Like, hundreds of thousands bad it could be. Like it could be terrible.
Yes. And yeah. And now especially with a team now of like trying to figure out whose responsibility it is to like double check those things, double check that the sink that we picked out fits the vanity that we picked out, that the light we picked out doesn't interfere with the cabinet, drawings, and that we also elevate. It's the risk and liability in this business is pretty intense. And I don't think you can know that until you screw up. And then you're like, oh, cool. Who's paying for that? Oh, I am. Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
And
like, there goes my profit.
Yes.
Well, I guess a 10% profit margin isn't going to be the best idea.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So what does your team look like now?
Yeah, good question. So sorry, our intern just left last week, so I'm still iffy on the numbers. We will be at 8. We are currently hiring for an associate designer position. And as soon as we fill that, we will be at 8 people. And that means that we have 3 design teams kind of spread out over the 2 locations. We have 2 design teams based in Minnesota, and that is 2 senior designers and will be 2 associate designers. And then I have an associate designer out here in Colorado with me. And then we have a procurement coordinator, and we have a chief of operations, marketing, and partnerships in Minnesota as well. So that kind of encapsulates basically my W-2 team. And then, of course, we have an accountant and a PR firm and kind of all of the contractors necessary to make all this happen.
And it really is a ship that you need to keep fully staffed in order to keep it running like that. Otherwise, you're not getting the work that you need and getting through it fast enough to keep your cash flow moving. And
exactly. Yeah. And I think one thing that I'm learning, especially now as we're kind of entering into this new era of having 3 amazing, incredible teams, really is that like now we have an overhead kind of monster to feed, and that has to be a priority. And that is something that, back when it was just me and a senior designer, like we were just throwing things at the wall and being like, what works? Do we have capacity? Do we not? And now it's like, no, if you have the teeniest bit of time, we need to fill it with, a project to be able to make sure that we're making our bills are paid and we have some profit to save. So.
And is that all on you to get those leads?
Yes. So right now, I, for the most part, am kind of the person who's in charge of taking our sales funnel and kind of bringing it in bringing business in. I still do all of our inquiry calls and still kind of manage everything until they decide to book, and then it gets handed over to the appropriate team. So.
Okay. How involved are you from then on through a project?
Yeah, so if it's a project that my team is taking on, so to give you context, my team really handles kind of our nationwide and Colorado-based projects. So our other design teams really handle Minnesota and the regional kind of Midwest projects that happen for us. We have an amazing referral network out there. But if it's my project, obviously I'm leading those projects. So I'm very, very much in the day-to-day. And we have, I think, probably about 6 ongoing projects for my team that scale anywhere from, like a 2 to 3 room kind of smaller scale renovation with an addition. I guess it is a large scale addition a large scale renovation with the addition, but range from that to just like fully new construction, 5,000 square feet kind of multi-million-dollar custom new builds. Outside of that, for the other teams, they run with a lot of autonomy, but we have sort of these internal pulse checks of, we have internal design reviews. And so I really act as creative director for those projects. But I'm pretty much the one that just shows up at install and is like, it looks amazing. And
we did great.
We did great.
You did great, sweetie.
Yeah. And truly, they are like incredible designers running incredible projects. So I couldn't feel more honored that they chose to work for me. So
fantastic. I think something I'm curious about that I don't think we said yet to listeners is, why are you in 2 states and how?
Yes.
Great question. So it was never intended. This was not on my dream board at all. So we were in Minnesota, but we had gone there for my husband's law school, and it had been nearly 2 decades where we had just made a really beautiful life there. But COVID had really put a spotlight on the fact that we were nowhere near family. And so we sort of did that mental calculation of this is going to be really great for both my mom and my mother-in-law to hear. But we did the mental calculation of if we only see our parents once a year and they're only going to live, X amount of years more.
Oh, no.
We sort of
many Christmases are left, kind of?
Exactly. Yeah. So we were my husband's fully remote. I was my business was really in its infancy stage back then. I really didn't have a lot. At that point, I don't think I even had anyone else besides me. So I was like, well, why not? Why don't we just pick up and move, and I'll get someone here in Minnesota to kind of carry the weight. And I truly anticipated that the business would shift with me and come with me to Colorado, and it didn't. It really ended up kind of rooting down in Minnesota and growing, which was really beautiful. That was about a little over 2 years ago at this point. And so we're still kind of trying to form a good referral network here in Colorado, but in the meantime, we sort of have all of these nationwide projects that need our attention, but the Minnesota part of the business is just gangbusters, growing like crazy. Wow. So that was not the intent. And I wish I had a good, kind of crystal ball vision into the future. But I think for now it is working pretty well. It's just, adds a layer of complication. But
I think you did a really good job branding yourself as Minnesota.
Oh, I thank you.
I mean, I feel that in your work and just historical aspects and details that you have. And I don't know, I do feel like it is, I don't know, if it does feel like that.
It obviously connected with the ideal clientele that you want there. If it just kept growing, you're wait, we thought maybe we'd wind it down at some point. And to know that it's a significant part of your business is probably invigorating, but also scary at the same time.
And is the architecture style different? I mean, out west, where we are too. We don't have, there's pockets, obviously, in bigger cities, but we don't have the sweeping, beautiful historic
we don't have
neighborhoods.
we don't have basements.
Yeah.
That's
we don't have baseboards. We don't have crown molding. Come on.
Yeah, some of it there's it's just drywall casings, we don't we have to add a lot unless you're in a more historic property here.
There's some neighborhoods, but it's very much pockets.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that has been something I guess I didn't anticipate with moving to Colorado is the sort of even just mentality shift. I think there's a really strong and prevalent Scandinavian presence in Minnesota that, and as we all know, like the Scandinavian kind of hygge, like cozying down, like, you know, obviously really comes a lot from weather and having 6 months out of the year be very cold and a time where you want
inside
candles
time.
Exactly. Yeah. But that really translates to people spending and investing in their homes. And I feel like, especially in Colorado, there's such a focus on, you know, being outside and doing the hikes and doing all the things that people just care a little less. And that's not to say that like there aren't people who care, because obviously there are, but I think the focus is just less home-based and more kind of experience outside of the house-based.
I've never really thought about it like that, but maybe is it like, and I feel like it's this way here too, it's the outside is bright and sunny, so it's like outside in focus if we want to expand views and look outside, where even though Minnesota's beautiful, it is more of like we want to be inside and
cozy.
focus that way.
For sure.
Like when it's covered in snow, you don't want to have everything be, well, some people do, but I don't want an all white house when it's all white outside. Like,
it's also not practical, like from an insulation standpoint, and like historically, like you didn't have gigantic huge window, like paned windows probably. Like where I think Colorado, I think like these vast, beautiful like views and picture windows.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that there's an element to, you know, out in the West, we definitely have a lot more land. And so there's definitely opportunity for people to kind of capitalize on those views and really build a house that's oriented towards the view of the mountain or the view of the, you know, if you're in the Bay Area, the view of the Bay, you know, like all of those things that really like kind of drive things. And in Minnesota, it's so densely populated in the metro area that like you could be looking out your window and seeing your neighbor's house like 36 inches away. And you're like, cool. So we just want to make our house, you know, feel good.
Let's just stay inside.
View. Yeah, exactly. So,
Interesting. So have you been like finding ways to adapt your style?
No.
Great. Good job.
To really be frank, no, I kind of went down that trajectory of like, well, maybe we kind of involve some more of that like mountain kind of vibey like into our work. But I really feel, you know, we operate within kind of a very traditional kind of aesthetic bandwidth. And it's, you know, there's so many ways that can go. It can go very Southern traditional or very European traditional. Like there's so many ways that can go. But the mountain at like aesthetic has never been something that I really responded to, which I hate even saying that. I don't want to limit ourselves to like not having projects in Aspen. So please, if you are building in Aspen, call me. But we are like so cottage traditional, but also like really influenced by European and English design that it just like finding that niche has been so powerful for us. And it like really diving into that and calling that ours has been a really good thing for us. So I didn't, even as we're, you know, we bought land recently in Colorado and are planning on kicking off a new construction project for my own family. And even as I think about that house, like I think it's going to stand out like a sore thumb where it is. But I hate to say I don't care, because I do care and I care about that for our clients. But I want to influence our design aesthetic a little bit onto Colorado versus adapting to kind of that vibe.
There's people there who want what you're doing. They just don't see it anywhere right now.
Right.
You know, and so you're the one who's creating it.
Right. But there is the Victorian time stamp that is in like the Denver area. And
yeah, for sure. I think there's opportunity. I just don't think I don't think we have quite the presence in Colorado that people know we exist yet here. So that's okay.
Interesting.
It'll get there. I think people are craving more and like less austere. Like, can we?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Can we have things that you want to touch again?
Yes. Nothing's too precious. And let's put color and, you know, pattern and whimsy into our, you know, projects. But yeah, there's room for everyone, obviously.
Absolutely. It's like, I mean, for a while, what was that? Mediterranean, Tuscan, whatever, had a chokehold on every new development out here in Southern California where I am.
Yeah.
You're hard pressed to find anybody still doing that there, but it's at one point it was like all you could find. And now you're just going to bring something different to Denver or to Colorado.
Yeah.
Or that Aspen where it's like someone wants a cottage in Aspen, not like a modern A-frame gigantic thing or something.
Yeah. I hope so. I'm ready for them to call me, but
yeah, that'll make it easier on your travel schedule.
Yeah.
Hey hotties, we have way more for you over on the Hot Young Designers Club blog.
It's kind of like having an internet home base that we've been wanting to start.
Yeah, we're over there doing designer features, sharing industry news, and some business updates.
We've always wanted to be able to share our inspirations, so we needed a long-form place to do it, and now we have it.
You got it. So head to hotyoungdesignersclub.com and check out the blog.
Yes. What does that look like? Like, I've seen some glimpses. Like, it seems kind of intense, but also, like, you've got it down.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I sat and thought about it, I would probably freak out a little bit just because it's pretty intense. But I spend a month back in Minnesota. So we kind of, when I realized that the business was not gonna transition here, we made the move to kind of buy a condo in Minneapolis, which was a really great move for us so I could have a home base. So now I spend a month back in Minnesota. And if I'm not in Minnesota, typically at least 2 to 3 times a month, I'm kind of doing site visits at our projects around the country, which really vary between like Texas and California and Tennessee and, New Jersey and all the things. So, yeah, it's intense.
Wow.
It sounds stressful.
But you don't have to like pack like all your toiletries, like everything's in your condo.
Yeah, okay. I've gotten really good at packing on the fly and not forgetting things, except for I say that, and I recently forgot all of my shoes at my recent trip to Minnesota, which was very awful for my bank account, but great for me. But I will say I've gotten very good at traveling, to the point where I probably am too good at it in terms of timelines of I don't need to be there that early. I have TSA pre-check and I carry on and I can skirt through. Yeah.
That's me. I'm like, if I could get to the gate 5 minutes before boarding starts, that would be perfect.
Yes. Don't waste my time with sitting at the gate. I want to walk right onto the plane, and it's I think people who travel with me are like, okay, I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my common. Yeah. I'm always the carry-on guy. So
yeah.
I can get there pretty easy.
I saw someone on TikTok ask for the hat, tell me all the crazy hacks. And this one comment said that they travel every week or maybe every month. And they have just packed and they wear the exact same thing. So it's the workout set, the shoes, the outfit, everything is just take it home, wash it, pack it back up, and it's out the door. Which,
genius.
I don't know. It's genius, but also could I be that consistent? I don't know.
I know I couldn't with my outfits. I'd be like, no, I need 6 outfits for a 1-day trip. So
exactly. Options.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not able to do. I was nope, I could put 2 jeans and the same shirts and fold them up and put them in the bag and just zip it up for
Shaun won't even bring a rolling bag. He carries a 10-pound leather duffel bag.
That's very chic.
I carry my.
It looks cute,
I carry my weekend duffel for a weekend High Point, and I've taken it to I've gone to Europe.
But
I'm
then it's
we'll do laundry halfway through.
I can't go out to another dinner because I can't fit another shirt. Then I get annoyed. No,
yeah.
Dude,
then she's you don't want to change your clothes. I'm this is literally the last change of clothes I have. I don't have an endless supply with me. I only have so many options.
Yeah. No, that's a challenge. I can understand that. But you look chic going through the airport with your leather duffel, which I love.
It's cute. Yeah.
It's definitely a power move.
Yeah.
I didn't plan for it that way, but it is oh dang. You see the other travelers where you're just oh, okay, they got this down. And I've had even pre-check people pull me because they can see other people in pre-check who they're this is going to take too long. This guy's got we could keep the line moving if we pull him around these people who are freaking out over here. And so there is a little bit of people who travel recognize other people who travel and kind of try to make our lives easier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like I'm very much a part. I'm very much a part of that crew to the detriment of my family because I will leave them in the dust if they slow me down in an airport. So
they haven't been through the boot camp like you have, so they don't know the same speed.
Yeah, my poor daughter.
She's probably got it down now, though, too.
She's figuring it out. She can run to keep up. So I sound awful. I sound like an awful human. That's terrible.
Not what I'm picking. That's not what I'm hearing. No, that's not what I'm hearing. So
You're
don't
efficient.
worry about that. Yeah.
You guys are nice. That's very nice of you.
I would want to switch gears a little bit to talk to you about like your business model, so to speak, of like is hourly or flat, or your trepidations between both, or like, can you just share with the listeners where you found yourself?
Yeah, I feel like I've tried them all over the course of, not an insanely long 6 years, but I started out doing flat fee. And I did that because I felt like I couldn't imagine a world where I could tell a client like, well, I don't know how much it's going to cost and I don't know what your final fees are going to be like, just because I didn't have any of that historical data. What I ended up doing was very much basing my flat fees based on rates I thought I would pay as a client, which, as we probably all could predict, was not enough money.
Surprise!
Surprise! I know. As tale as old as time over here. And I use this example all the time as like this monumental moment where I was like, this does not work. In fact, I remember having a moment where I was like, how do interior designers make money? Like, this is not a business where you can actually make money, which is, of course it is, but I just was doing it wrong. But I had a project and it was a wonderful project, wonderful clients, but it ended up going for 3 years. And I had charged them $10,000. And those 3 years, of course, I had ended up hiring. I mean, I think I had like 3 employees by the time that project finally wrapped. And so obviously that $10,000 was gone like a year.
Immediately.
Yeah. Like basically immediately. And so that was like my good wake up moment of like, this is not like, if you call this wrong, like there's obviously a world where flat fee works beautifully, but you really have to have that historical data of knowing and feel really confident in what you're charging. And so when I brought on my first employee, which would have been in September of 2022, I really like made the swap to doing an hourly kind of billing model. And that's where we have been for the last 3 years. And that has really worked really well for us. But all that time that we have been able to kind of build that historical information for us, we've also then really been able to predict where these costs will land for clients based on scale of project and if it's new construction versus renovation. And so that kind of eliminated that element of like, I don't know how much it's going to cost. Like, we're able to really give potential clients, a really good threshold of where their fees may land, which I think adds to that comfort level of like, okay, if you're talking a range, I feel comfortable with that range. And so we feel good moving forward. So.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of need something.
They got to know how much extra should I set aside in case we're at the top end of the range. And
right. Exactly.
Am I ready to set that aside if I need to?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like one of our big strengths internally is really being able to build a lot of kind of client trust through our use of Instagram, quite frankly, or our use of, I guess, marketing tools. And so by the time people kind of come to us, they have a good understanding of who we are. And so instead of having that kind of really crazy lift of getting to the point of like immense trust with a client right away, where you're like, hey, I'm probably going to charge you 6 figures and I hope you feel good for design and I hope you feel okay about that and trust me that I can execute on that. Like, we have people coming to us who are like, I know who you are. I know what you do. Like, I implicitly trust you. Here's my money, which is such an honor, but something that we have worked really, really hard to achieve for sure.
That's a good point. So you're saying that they know you're a good person and you're not going to rip them off.
Yes.
And they can see the results. Like, they know that you're executing projects.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yes. They know, like if I'm going to tell someone, our average cost per square foot for a new construction project to get the look that you want is going to hit kind of in this range. Like, we have enough kind of reputability to be able to say that and have someone be like, can you do it for $350 a square foot? And to which we say, no.
No.
Not for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that's something that there are a lot of designers that we talk to that just don't want to. Like, they just don't want to do Instagram, and I totally get it. Like, I've been, like, barely posting all summer, but but I've built a little bit of, I don't know, runway to where people still know who I am and know me, who've been following me for a while.
Yeah.
So I do think that is a big thing is, like, we're asking clients to just write me a 5 to 6 figure check. Like, I promise it's good.
I'm a stranger. Yeah.
Yeah, like, we've never actually met until now.
Yeah.
But it sometimes it does feel like, wow, they just really trusted me.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, I never have plans to do anything otherwise, but that is a leap that I would think twice about.
Right. No, it absolutely. I mean, I think I know I take it a little bit for granted when I think about, what they're committing to at the onset of a project. Like, it's immense. And it not only is immense financially, like the investment of kind of transferring the hopes and dreams you have for your future life to someone else and trusting that they can execute on that is huge. I mean, that's something that, like, I hope that we all can have, pretty good perspective on being able to really hold those things that our clients hold so dearly, and sometimes their best friends don't even know, and really, like, carry those and execute for them. So
yeah, like, I trust you to be the place my grandchildren will come home to, and I don't even have kids yet. Like, it's really that. Yeah, there's so many emotional aspects to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways there's so many and I think a lot of people do, but we very much focus on creating solutions for our clients that alleviate some of those kind of standard day-to-day mental weight kind of elements that just weigh on our brains when we don't have something that is, really custom designed to our needs and the way we operate in life. And so, like, by the time, like, through the entire process, we're effectively romanticizing our clients' lives and being like, and I'm envisioning them doing this on a Friday night, and then they go here and grab their wine glasses and go out on the patio on their bistro set, and, like, doing all of these things that we're kind of crafting a life in a way, but crafting it based on very much how they want to live. And that there's, like, such a tenderness in that by the time we get to the end of a project, usually, like, there's, everyone's crying because there's a lot of beauty in that. But what we hear repeatedly, like, 6 months in, is like, you talked about this in the beginning about how having a home that is really catered to my needs would feel mentally, but I didn't understand it until I lived in it. And they feel like it's such a gift, and we feel like it's such an honor that they're willing to trust us with that, for sure.
Yeah, it's remarkable what happens when the world that we live in is built around us and works for us. And there's very few places, if anywhere, that we can do that other than our homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, a place that, and we talk about this internally as a team all the time, like, our homes really should lift us up on our bad days and kind of carry us in ways that no other place can, keep us safe in places in a way that no other place can. But also on the, other end of the range, should be able to, like, hold us and allow us to celebrate and be, like, our best selves, or our worst selves, really, but have those moments of being like, I did this and this was triumphant. I'm going to have a dinner party to celebrate, or I'm going to, just pull out the champagne flutes, or, whatever, like that, all of those things, like that. It's just so precious.
Yeah, it's really hard to convey to a potential client if they've never had an environment like that, or even just like, oh yeah, we did our condo kitchen one time and it got so much better. And you're like, now wait until I touch your whole house.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't know until you get into it how your home affects your wellness and your well-being so much. And I know we talk a lot about beauty, but there is, like, a science behind this, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to repairing your nervous system, and how harsh and cruel, like, the outside world can be, and your only refuge is your home, so it's, like, really foundational to your mental health and your well-being to have a place that can nurture you and bring you up, like you're saying.
Couldn't agree more, For sure.
And not have to escape. Like, I had a client recently who they travel a lot and go to a lot of really high-end hotels, and they're like, this is our favorite room we've ever stayed in. And it's the most comfortable, and it's their home. So I do think, yeah, the downside is it makes it harder to travel.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like, this kind of we stayed at a fun hotel this weekend with Shaun and I and our friend Claire, like he said, and we were just like such asshole designers. Like, can we get a hook? Like, there's not one
There's
drawer.
no storage in here. Like,
we just redesigned the whole thing, and like the finishes were all beautiful, but like the function side, like, I don't have a plug outlet on my side of the bed. Like, God dang it.
Yeah.
Or like, that bar that they built looks custom and expensive, but they couldn't put a dresser somewhere in here.
Put that budget into the closet.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. I feel like being a designer ruins you from hotels. Suddenly, like, you have to stay at this, like the 5-star level plus of hotels where you're like, before you can really like settle in and enjoy that, hopefully we're not doing that for our clients, but maybe we are. Maybe we are.
For sure.
So my new investment guide tagline is going to be, we're going to ruin hotels for you forever.
Yeah.
Like, you're never gonna want to travel.
You're never gonna want to travel anywhere else or stay at someone else's house because it's gonna be that cool. Like,
yeah.
Sorry.
You're gonna save so much money on your travel budget every year. Just dedicate it to design fees.
Everything else is a downgrade.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, so Instagram, you're saying, has been like a huge part of your business.
Yeah.
Are you handling that yourself, or are you offloading that now?
Yeah, up until fairly recently, like as of maybe April, I really did handle a lot of it myself. I would say kind of mid last year, we did bring in someone to kind of help develop some of the posts just to like get ahead of trying to create content in a way that felt executable, where I wasn't sitting on my phone being like, what do I upload today? So that was great. But then when we brought on our chief of operations, marketing, and partnership, she really has kind of taken the social media thing and really turned it into, a real strategy, which has been really fun to see. And really, it took what I was doing and made it basically sustainable without me, which is kind of the whole goal, is that I can not have to be into the weeds on things like that. So that our social media has been a great thing to kind of get to turn over to someone else and see it through their eyes, for sure.
So are you in the DMs at all still? Or?
I fully am in the DMs. So we Grace will still like occasionally check DMs because we'll occasionally get partnership kind of, DMs on that. But I still am very much the person who typically replies comments to people in the feed and like very much in the DMs. I feel like I have a really fun relationship with whatever level you can call it a relationship, but with people in the DMs. And I don't want to lose that. That feels really precious to me. So.
Yeah, and it's hard to turn that part over, especially when it's been your voice and your face for so long to grow it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that has been, like when you think about kind of the element that some of these projects, like I talked to them at the first part, at their inquiry call, and then maybe I'm there for their presentation or maybe I'm there for a site visit or two, but then they might not even see me again until install or photo shoot. Like it has become a really crucial thing for us to make sure that the team also has a really prevalent place in this and it's not just me anymore. And so that was, has been part of a strategy shift for sure, is to make sure that I, while I am the face of the brand, that like I'm not the only one being seen, or my projects aren't the only ones being featured, that we have a good cadence of kind of featuring everyone in the firm, as much as some of them don't want to be a part of it. But they're getting forced to. So
it's like, okay, before you sign this job offer, there's a clause like we're not hiding anything from anyone. Like, don't come in unless you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're gonna be videoed on days you probably don't want to be, and hopefully that's okay. And yeah, for sure.
But it's a softer handoff too, like, or warmer, I guess, when they're going to be working with a client, that the client's not like off put by it or something.
Right.
That expectation.
And it's helped kind of some of that management of that. I think a lot of people, and we certainly went through our phase of this, of where everyone kind of expects since you're the face of the firm, for you to be the person that is, there and to be at their, kind of at the first call that they make. And so it's kind of helped to mitigate some of that a little bit, just to make sure that people know that, like, you're going to have a different senior designer. And honestly, they're in a lot of ways more capable than I am. So, like,
right,
you're in really good hands. So, yeah.
Well, they'll get back to you faster, probably.
Yeah, and they'll get they will answer emails more timely for sure. So,
have you ever had any pushback on that from anybody since you've moved to that method? Or
there was a phase, probably I would say probably about 2 years ago, where we had a little bit of pushback where people were like, "Wait, I thought Melissa was going to be the person that was my day-to-day contact," and we really, thankfully, it was a pretty easy kind of sell of like, keep me on the emails. Let's keep me CC'd so I'm aware of what's going on. And we have a weekly kind of update meeting as a big team where we talk about all the projects. So, every 7 days I'm getting a good update on what's happening in projects. But otherwise, that phase was pretty short-lived for us, thankfully. So,
is that part of your discovery call, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we definitely talk about that. And I definitely, especially if I know this is a project that I'm not going to be on, like, I have a lot of conversations with people about, here's what your design team is going to look like. At that point, I probably know who has capacity to take on a project like that, or what timeline that might be on. And so I start that conversation early so that no one is blindsided by the fact that it's not me. So,
they never see you again, or they show up to a meeting and go, where's Melissa?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've skirted a lot of that, which has been nice. So,
has that helped you offload some of that emotional weight load of being the one person that has to show up every day?
Yeah, it has helped. I admit to being a bit of a control freak, as all
relatable.
All business owners tend to be. I admit to that, and I feel like that was getting myself out of being CC'd on everything was a big moment of me letting go that I couldn't have articulated. I don't think I could have articulated it because it kind of happened slowly, but it has let me, when there's something that does happen on a project that I'm not lead on, kind of be like, okay, like, what are the next steps for you to kind of solve this? And kind of really giving the teams, like empowering the teams to feel like they can take and solve those problems without my input. If we've made a giant mistake and there's some big financial implication to the firm, those are obviously things we need to kind of talk about more, globally. But I would say, like, for the most part, these projects really run very much without most of my input, other than these internal reviews that we do, which is, such a monument to the senior designer and associate designer on these projects, for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like they take a lot of ownership over the work they're creating. Like, they personally care or are passionate about what they're still creating, that they don't need you to push the passion and creativity.
For sure. Yeah. I think one of our more recent struggles has been, as we've, kind of had some national recognition on a certain level, I want people to know that, like, I may be the face, but, like, 2/3 of our projects I have very little to do with, other than, saying, like, hey, don't love that sconce, or like, hey, that paint color doesn't hit right, or like, hey, what is that hardware piece? Like, I don't have a lot of input into that other than being a creative director. So making sure that the team feels as honored and recognized during those moments as I do has kind of been kind of our new levels, new devils, kind of figuring out how to make sure that they really feel a part of that and don't feel like, oh, well, Melissa gets to go to all the fun things and Melissa gets to do all the, like, cool, like, recognize, whatever things. And then here I am on your podcast, so
you can have them all on.
Yeah, it's not like you're out being a social media influencer all day. Like, you're still running your business and raising a family. And yes, like, all of that takes a lot of energy and time. And yeah, there's sort of that, like, weird space you get when you're, like, the leader or of your team or of a team of, how much do I let them see so they recognize what I'm going through too? Like, I can't hide everything, because then they'll lose empathy for what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
But I'm also here to help protect them a little bit from those things.
Completely.
So they don't lose focus and they don't have to feel weighed down by, an irate vendor or something like that. And I think diffusing that as much as you can is really, it sounds like a very healthy decision. Rebecca and I have both talked about it's hard for us to let go of things too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's not easy.
no.
What does your design community look like? It seems like you do have a lot of industry friends that are in similar situations, which we obviously think is really important.
Yeah, I feel like I'm coming across as like Pollyanna, like everything's great.
No.
But I feel really like honored to have the friends and the network that I do, because I honestly feel a lot like Taylor Swift's like, I'm the monster on the hill kind of vibes. Like I feel like I'm like always like too gregarious and too whatever. And so anyway, I feel really honored to have had the opportunity to make the friends that I have that feel at a much different level than I feel I'm at. But Minnesota is one of those really beautiful places where like our design community, like there's a lot of us, certainly not as many as you have in Southern California. Holy cow. But it is, there's a lot of us, but we're all pretty well intertwined in terms of like friend groups, and there's not a lot of opportunity or events or things where we all kind of get together, but when we do, we're all very, very friendly. And then we kind of have our individual groups. Like I have a few different groups of people that are on my like group text speed dials of like, hey, what do you do when something like this happens?
Yes.
Or even just this morning, I reached out to one of them and was like, hey, I've not been to Round Top and I'm thinking about going. Like, what do I need to know? And where do I stay? And like, what do I do? And so having those networks has been great and really has grown as kind of opportunities have presented themselves. So,
and that's the kind of stuff you can't lean on your team for. Like,
yeah,
either showing the things that you're insecure about or unsure, like you want to keep a confident leadership mentality a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And we're not always feeling that way, or you're like leveling up in something you haven't done before. And I know you've been doing that. And to have people that have either already walked the path or you trust, it's critical.
Yeah. And I was just talking about this. I was at a dinner in Colorado last night with some designers, and I was, we were kind of commiserating about being a business owner and kind of all of the things that happen as you have a team that you do shield them from, and that you do kind of have to be a developer of people in addition to like doing your day-to-day activities. And for most of us, that is not something that comes super naturally. Like I don't, when I think about like, how do I effectively get a senior designer to manage their time in a way that feels really productive? Like those are things I'm asking myself about myself versus being able to develop those skills in someone else. And, I've definitely over the years had moments where some of my employees have hurt my feelings. And like, those are things that like, you can't go to your other employee and like be like, hey, she hurt my feelings, because like, as you said, you need that kind of like confident leadership element. And I certainly don't want to create any moment of like toxic anything just because, we have a firm full of women who there's going to be conflict inevitably, but like hopefully we can manage it in an adult way. But having those kind of friendship groups to be able to say like, I've fully like sobbed in one of my, like we have a kind of a dinner crew in Minnesota that we get together and just been like, when did you guys start paying yourselves? Because like I haven't started, I know this was a few years ago, but like I haven't started paying myself. I don't know when I'll be able, like those kind of moments you just can't do with your employees. So
yeah.
It's and if you do, you're worried like, I'm going to undermine their confidence, or they're going to start looking for a job, or so.
Yes.
There's a little bit of like
them. It's kind of like your kid. Like there's things where my kid hurts my feelings and we're very comfortable around each other. But like I'm always having to like walk the line with like, okay, we're not besties, but I want a little bit of that vibe.
Yeah.
But if she hurts my feelings, I can't react and like be a brat back to her. Like she's 10. I'm not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the grown-up.
Yeah.
But also I kind of want her to know like, hey, that crossed a line. Like, I'm not okay with that. Like, watch it, girl. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard.
It is.
We all have feelings.
We do. And I've had some people kind of relate it to a marriage, right? Like you have there are elements about your partner that you love. And then there are elements that you could just do without. And that's going to be the same for your employees. It's not any different. It's just how you sort of deal with that, yourself and internally. And so that's, and sometimes it's the positives outweigh the negatives. And so we deal with the negatives in a way that helps us be more productive and, really lean into the positives. But it is definitely a challenge that I don't know that enough of us really speak about, but probably for good reason, that we would probably hurt our employees' feelings. And I deeply don't want to do that. So
there's a kind of a couples therapy element to it a little bit of just
yes.
When you said this, I felt this. And and it's hard for an employee to say it's not critical of them. It's hard to separate feedback from a critique, or it's just a weird space to navigate. I'm not pretending to be good.
It's also privacy. It's not our business some of the time. Okay, I think something's going on with this person. I don't know if it's in their relationship at home. I want to ask if you're okay, but there's a line. If they're not going to tell me, it's not my business. So it when those oh, okay, now we're being in a professional mode.
At
install, we were being silly.
And you have to be okay, I'm sorry, girl, but don't tell me this. I don't. You should not tell me about your doctor stuff right now. I know we're cool, but we can't be that cool anymore. And I feel a lot of designers lately that I've just been paying attention more and more to designers who are talking about their teams, and there sort of seems to be this initial team development phase where it's I got the people that I needed initially and they kind of helped get me through things. But then when we've really gassed up and grown and developed and we're pulling on different projects, there's a different skill set for a lot of teams. And it's that transition from our first team that was a family to our more professional version of the team. And some of those early family team members don't make it to the professional version of the team. And it could be that the energy doesn't jive with them, or the type of work isn't what they thought they wanted anymore. And not everyone's meant to go with that transition, forever. But it does seem to be a common trend when I hear about that team growth development from a lot of designers is at one point you got to pull, you can't be the cool boss, friend, sister, mom energy type of, then it's okay, but I'm the boss, and Melissa doesn't need to hear that you were out too late partying with your boyfriend last night and you're tired today. Pull it together.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it's exactly that where you're I know that you have stuff going on in your life and I care about you as a human and I want good things for you, but I need you to show up and hit a certain level because we have to do that for our clients. And so how can I support you to do that? Is such that's been the new transition in the business has really just been that how do we figure out I understand you're stressed and you're over capacity, but you made those decisions and you still have to fulfill the job. And I also on the other end can very much recognize that at any point you could just double middle finger me and walk out the door. Actually, that sounded really
Deuces.
dirty. Yeah. And walk out the door and be screw you. I don't need this anymore. And so trying to take care of people and give them the flexibility that, I want to give my employees without being taken advantage of is certainly something that is definitely a new kind of thing of trying to manage for sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have some numbers now. That's a lot of people. It got some volume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what would you say on the flip side? What part of your business do you feel most confident in?
I feel super confident in our processes, honestly. And it sounds so boring, but I feel our processes are so buttoned up in a way that it feels it serves our clients really well and allows us to systemize things that, are harder for creatives to systemize. And so I feel really proud of our, how much work we did to really dig in to figure out those things and make them replicable across multiple teams. That feels like a really beautiful part of the business that feels like in a really good place.
Was that led by you primarily?
I would say it was led by me and then my first hire, Kate, who is still with me. And that was something that I came from an experience where I didn't have any firm experience. I hadn't apprenticed under anyone. I had no idea what a design firm was supposed to look like. And then Kate had come into things really having an understanding, like working, in multiple firms where she was able to provide the context of like, maybe we shouldn't be buying at Pottery Barn anymore. And, there's a world outside of that. And, so we really built a lot of these processes together. And as they've had to kind of ebb and flow and change and evolve as we have grown, like that has been something that I've been spearheading. And then bringing in our director of ops, she's now really doing the work of like documenting all of those things in a way that is, that makes sense that someone could read and really do themselves versus our Google sheet of like, here's what that happens then and who's responsible for that. So, yeah.
Oh, it's an enormous amount of work. So we know that took a lot to get out there.
Yes. Yes, it is. Thank God for ChatGPT in some ways, though, because that...
Literally.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine like the start to end process on that. And I'm sure you're still discovering stuff that you're like, oh, that's we don't have anything for that. Or that hasn't happened before. Now, whose job is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Even especially, and you guys know this with increased build costs and how things have really exploded over really even just the last 6 months. But like we've just seen this gigantic increase in cost over the last year and a half. And so we've had to figure out in our process kind of how we account for that, because previously we were very much following a traditional trajectory of like, we're hired, we do design, and then it gets sent out for bid. And then we find out that, suddenly we're finding out that these bids were like 2x, 3x client budgets, and then needing to value engineer kind of back. And like that, our clients having spent tens of thousands of dollars in that design phase, like that feels icky to kind of have to rework some of that. And so we had to figure out a internal way of being able to develop a document that could encapsulate kind of those design elements without having to go into a full design that's a contractor could bid against, so that we could get almost like a feasibility check on the project to understand like, oh, okay, so we initially thought this was going to be, a full home renovation, and now we need to scale down to main level. And so we could just design main level instead of having designed the whole house and only being able to execute on half of it. Like that, those processes have definitely had to evolve especially recently. So
I've been doing that a lot more lately too. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And probably good that you didn't get too locked down in one thing where you're like digging your heels in and going, this is just not how we do it. We've done it for, 15 years like this. And you're like, well, if that doesn't serve us anymore, switch it. Like, let's do something different.
But also,
instead.
We're only whole home. So, now you hired me and we're not doing half a home. Like, what are you supposed to do? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. At that point, I feel like we're so plugged into the client that we're like, okay, we're, you have a set budget.
You have us.
We're going to do what we can within that budget, and we're going to knock it out of the park for that budget. But, call us when you're ready for phase 2 kind of, vibes. But it's been, we've had giant projects that, multi-million-dollar new construction projects that just suddenly have evaporated into thin air because build costs became untenable.
Yeah. Oh my God. No kidding. We've talked about it on the show, but I have one project it's been fully redesigned, and we're like, it has to go through coastal commission approvals. And the first time it went through, it just took forever. And the architect was in charge of that one more than I was.
Yeah.
And then none of it came back feasible, really. So there was some messiness on that process because it was his work that was really overdone, not our work on my side that had been overdone.
Yeah.
And so now I'm being like extra careful as we go through phases of, probably like you're saying, is it's going to be stone in here and quartz in here, and it's going to be overlay cabinets here and inset here. So the contractor can at least aim at something that I'm trying to do of probably paint grade in this room and stain grade over here. And if I can get enough of that laid out, I hope that we could get to a spot that it feels reasonable without me having to have designed all the spaces. That sounds like a lot of what you guys are trying to do too.
Very much. Yeah, exactly that. Very much saying like, hey, based on all of the visuals that we've looked at and all the things that we've talked about with the client, like we know that they want a stone flooring. So we know it's probably going to be at X amount price per square foot. And so making sure that those things really get built into the process early or into the, bid early is kind of the key there. But it is, I mean, we used to be, I feel like very much, and I say used to as if I've had this long tenure in this business, but even just 5 years ago, it used to be that finishes drove a project. Like you could make or break a project by the finishes that you chose. And now we're really just in a situation where labor is such a driving cost that like our finishes are just a drop in the bucket at that point. And yes, of course, they can still move the needle. But it's like when we have to value engineer things, like we're less value engineering specific finishes and more value engineering like cabinetry or millwork and kind of pulling back entire
Square
rooms
foot.
because exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of like, well, this is going to be a drywall box because we can't, it doesn't make sense to even do 10% of our design plan. Let's just leave it and we'll paint it a nice pretty color and put a pretty light in it and you can come back later.
And also I don't want to work on that project. So like when does that happen? Like, okay, I don't want to be involved in just these like basic finishes. Like this isn't an Oho project anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That has been.
So do you just like shrink it to like, okay, well, we're looking like we got the foyer and the dining room now?
Yes. Yeah. And I think we try to make impact where we can. If it's like, okay, well, this one needs to be scaled down. It's like, okay, well, have we siloed the furniture budget enough that it's not being absorbed by the construction budget?
Yes.
And can we make impact in that way and then like come back to us when, we're trying to do phase 2. But oftentimes we're in that phase 1 really trying to not duplicate work. And so making sure that if there does need to be a phase 2, that we're being really smart about where the work starts and stops so that client feels really good about how it's being planned for and then really can't help but just pick up the phone and call us when they're ready for phase 2 because we've had so much of a hand in it. So
do you require furnishing on your projects?
I would love to say yes. The way I started in this business was very construction heavy. And I didn't, I mean, my very first project was a furnishing project. And I gave them I hate saying this out loud, but I gave them my like trade pricing and then I charged them 20% on top of that. And that was my design fee. And like wild to think where that went and came from. But so that was my experience in furniture before. And I was like, no one can make money this way. Well, of course, joke's on me. I was just doing it wrong again.
Yeah.
So
you didn't know.
I didn't know. Now I know. But we try to, like, we have the conversations about furniture really early. And we're really grateful that we have a lot of clients who can kind of view their projects as like construction and furniture. And they are two separate money pools. But we still very much do have projects where it's like, the contractor didn't bid for that, and there goes, like half of our furniture budget, and try to like do what we can.
And all my excitement.
And then like all of the dreams of the beautiful finished photos kind of evaporate into thin air. But it's
the worst.
We do what we can, but I would say like in an age of rising build costs, like our heart is in so much of the architectural impact that we can make, that if we can make furniture impact, then that's just cherry on the top for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you see ahead for Oho Interiors?
I humbly say I would like to build an empire. And that sounds like so... like maybe there's a little ick factor involved in there. So I don't know.
Oh, wait, claim the energy. Claim it.
It'll be your version.
I want to build something big. And I think that there's a lot of impact that we can, I mean, like any designer can make, but I think there's a lot of impact that we can have in different realms. The design business will always be the core of our business. It will always be like who we are and what we identify as. But we have also found a lot of sort of like camaraderie and Instagram presence and being able to offer people like a little taste of it without having to kind of hire us for the full kind of, kit and caboodle.
The full shebang.
Yeah, the whole thing. And that, some of that is through like doing the expert sessions and certainly like some, most of the people that I get to talk to there aren't looking for full service, which is great that I can still have impact in their lives and hopefully like really provide a good solution for them. But we also are trying to figure out like, what do we want to do in the retail space, and like do like product partnerships is something that I really see as a potential avenue for us to explore in terms of making our impact within businesses that are already established, and say like, hey, we see a hole in lighting and we would love to kind of fill it, or wallpaper, kind of you name it. So I really see an empire kind of built, whether it's a teeny tiny little empire or whether it's like a giant, kind of empire. Like I would really like to build something that it really does get to make an impact in the greater, kind of design industry.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Like, 100% claim it. You don't have to be humble about wanting more for yourself. And like, that's probably a little bit of that imposter syndrome sneaking back in of like, hey, definitely. Can't you just be happy with this? Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's okay to ask for more. It's okay to want to create more and use your skills for that.
And create a next step. Like you're kind of like, hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, but you're positioning yourself to like not be in charge of everything, to where you're going to have new creative ideas and outlets that you're going to need. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have to be bigger.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need another state.
Yeah. Like your dreams are so much bigger that you need a bigger place to hold them, and that's really admirable to be saying like, no, I'm not just gonna sit and stagnate. I have so many more ideas and everything. It's very inspiring.
Oh, that's so generous of you. Thank you for saying that. You can honestly, should we do this every week and you can just help me not, be an imposter?
There is nothing, when you find your designer besties, there is no one like them to gas you up and like, so and also like feed your delusions.
Yeah.
Which sometimes become reality because they were fed so well that you're like, how could I not do this thing when people are with me and at my back and making sure that I don't stop, or I don't just accept the first thing people tell me, or I don't get my first partnership, but I know how to pitch better the next one. I think that'd be so exciting to watch you do that.
Yeah. Well, I want to give credit to you guys too, because I truly like when you guys came around, because it was early COVID, right?
Mm-hmm. We
April 1st.
April 1st, 2020. Right in the middle of like lockdowns.
Yeah. It was, I mean, like your podcast was impactful to me in so many ways, just because like, I had no idea what I was doing. So I was listening to anything and everything to be like, what do people do? How do you run an interior design business? But also to have your personality types like be out there and be in that level of like, I'm going to level with you. Like, you don't need to do that. Or the opposite of like, I'm going to cheer you on and you can do this. Like the voices that you guys have in this industry, they're so impactful and in ways that like, I think you guys will be finding out for decades to come, because it truly like, I mean, I was impacted by it for sure in a time where I like deeply needed it, and have continued to just be a creeper listener like over the last, 5 years. Aww. So yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you for saying that.
And I feel like maybe I need to go back and listen to my own advice.
Go then now. Like, it's remarkable the like small iterative changes that we make in our lives, that we make in our businesses, for our families. Yeah. And when we look back, I know that there's always that on to the next mentality for so many of us, but it really is amazing when you look at the leaps and bounds that like, if you had to make one long jump instead of a couple steps, you're just like, I could never jump that far.
Yes.
So I had to take the little steps to do that jump. It just wouldn't have worked the same way. So
yeah, for sure.
You should be proud of yourself.
Oh, you guys too. I mean, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have built something incredible. So
thank you. Do you want to share with the hotties where they should follow along and find you?
Yeah. So you can find us really on Instagram is where you can find us. It is at OHO_interiors. I'm hoping I got that correct, but Oho Interiors. And that is really, we have not made a huge foray into any other sort of social, vibes, but that's where you can find everything about us. Or you can find us on our website, but that's pretty easy. So.
Yeah. And you have a beautiful blend of projects in there. So we'll make sure to put it in the show notes for everybody.
That's nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's great to finally see you and get to talk to you.
Yeah, same. Thank you both for having me. This was just a delight. I'll come back anytime, even if you don't want me here. I'm going to come back.
Yay!
Yay. The next manifestation session, we'll get it scheduled.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on. And until next time,
stay hot, designers. Thanks for listening to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
For more on what we talked about today, check out the show notes.
Your support helps us grow, so share with your design besties.
And subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Our conversations continue on Instagram.
And be sure to download our monthly resources on our website and our Patreon.